right? State testing is right around the corner. And honestly, you might be in the thick of it right now. And so I hear you. It is not the best time of year. It is not the holly jolly Christmas time that we all love and know. But there are some things that you can do to prepare yourself and to prepare your students to make this time a little bit easier. So here's some tips and tricks that I have used when I was previously in the classroom that seemed like it really did help me. So I know everybody's state testing looks a little bit different. So I'm going to try to bring in a couple different ideas, whether yours is a full standardized, everybody sits in their desks, face forward, there's nothing on the walls, all that kind of standard, or if it's a one-on-one testing and it's more of an alternative testing where you have to pull students to do some questions at a time. I'm going to try to speak to both of those because I know this time can be really rough for a lot of our students. And there are some students that really do struggle with it, and that's okay. We're going to support them through it however we can. But let's talk more about you as a teacher getting set up for state testing time. I hear from a lot of teachers that they have to prepare binders of materials. They have to gather all of these manipulatives and things that they're going to use. If that is the case, start doing that now or even before you're seeing this. Because the more you gather your materials and put them in one designated location, the more it'll save you in the long run. If anybody takes DLM, the Dynamic Learning Maps test, that is something that I always gather cups, bowls, dice, dominoes, rubber bands, pencils, crayons, markers, literally a bunch of different random school supplies. I think I even needed stickers one year, stickers and paper. I've put it all in a container, in a bin with a lid on it. That is my state assessment materials. And so if you have any of those that you know, like I'm going to need some random dice for this question that might happen. Try to grab those things ahead of time. There's times that I was sitting there and I was like, a deck of cards. I have to go find a deck of cards somewhere. And I did. I found it. It was in my math drawer somewhere. But there are those moments that if you can pull those things ahead of time or things that look like it, because I know sometimes you can substitute, if you can pull those ahead of time, that would really help you in the long run. Again, preparing those binders, if you have to gather materials of binders and things. So trying to prepare those things ahead of time. Just block time to do it. Honestly, if you are making those binders and you know it's taking time to do that, make sure you're setting aside a time to do that. There's no way around it. Unfortunately, I've heard that some people can save them from year to year and other people can't. So if you can, try to. If not, it's going to have to be reinvented every year. If you can create a folder maybe in your drive or on your desktop of all the materials that you've gathered, that kind of helps you in the future years. Now is the time to do that. So, okay, preparing for the state assessment. So, preparing our students. Of course, we have to take everything off the walls. We have to get all of our desks in a row, no more than this many feet apart, right? We do the whole thing. If there is a moment that we could try to teach our students what that might look like, whether that's you give them a worksheet and say, okay, everybody's going to start now, right? And try to set that up. That there are maybe some moments that you can't support them or you can answer questions, but you can't help them with an answer. And trying to set up multiple choice options, filling in bubbles if they need to, how to select an answer on a computer, going through what a test might look like. I know lots of different states are going through and going computerized. So if there's a way that you can do any practice tests online, so that your students can get used to what that looks like and what that feels like, you're going to set yourself up for success with that way. So again, trying to find those moments to do that. I know I always used to pull my students one-on-one to give their state assessment. So then I would just set up centers with my paraprofessionals and they would do the centers and I would pull students and test. And then I'd bring a kid to a center and then I'd pull a kid from another center. And then, so that would be how I would test because there was no other way that I would do it unless I would literally shut everything down and everybody got to play. Like, no, we're going to do centers so that they can still work on maintaining skills. And there was some structure in place while it was quiet and I could do some testing. So again, getting students used to like, hey, I'm gonna have you stop in the middle of your activity so that I can pull you to test. And if there is a student who is not able to do that, try to get them done first before they, start with them before they get to a center, right? Test them first, then put them in a center. Or have them test at the end. Once they're done with all the centers, then they come to you. So that you can set them up for success as well and preparing them for what that might look like. So hopefully that was helpful to hear a little bit more. Of course, once you are in there in the test with the students, just encourage them to do the best they can. Trying to create as a simple process as possible. And showing that maybe this isn't as daunting as they think it might be, but hopefully that could help them just a little bit along the way, and encourage them to do their best. So I know state testing season is hard. If you have any other questions or thoughts, you are welcome to comment below. I know this was a short one, but it is state testing season and IEP season, so I know you all are in the thick of it, but I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next week.